accountant in my own company. When we were starting, you can be several roles in your company. You can be an accountant. You can be the human resource. You can recruit and fire. You can look for money. You can be the business development officer. A number of all the other tasks. My name is Jonan Kanwanaho, and I'm the team leader at Jonaki Holdings Limited. Our today's topic is systems in business. This cuts across all businesses. But you see, my talks, I concentrate majorly on money lending as a business. Why? Because Jonaki Holdings Limited runs money lending as a business. And you see, it's what I personally talk about. It's what I have at heart. Because the Bible tells us in Deuteronomy 15:6 that we're meant to be lenders to nations and we shall borrow from none. It's what I have at heart. So I want to talk about systems. Like you go to Stanbic Bank to get a loan facility, and your loan is not approved by the MD, and your loan is not, probably Stanbic Bank is owned somewhere in South Africa, but it has a branch in Uganda, and it is running very well. You can go get a loan, you can go get a facility, you can go save, you can go open an account. This guy does not know individually about you. Have you thought about you going to the mall and you go shopping in a mall and you're buying these products, you get to the counter and you pay. But you see, the owner of the business is not the one who serves you. He's probably somewhere resting. He's probably somewhere at his home with his children. He's probably somewhere out of the country. But the business is running. So what happens? How does it come about? Do you ever ask yourself that? But also, it could be a wish that at a certain point, you want to reach a level as a business person and you want to run this business without you being actively participating, without you being physically present in that business, without you being, physically there to serve the client. Now, what you need is systems in your business. And today, I want to focus specifically on money lending as a business. Why you should have systems in place. Why you should have systems in place. The first thing to note is that the systems will get to free you a lot of time. So what's the key thing you have to do is that one is to master the system by yourself. Because as I said, if you get someone to teach you, if you get someone to guide you, you also need to master so that you can transpose the same to your staff to master. Because it's only when my staff can run my system in my absentia and run them very well that I can afford to be somewhere else where I can actually do what it is that I want to do and do it very well. Now, if I want to be an accountant in my own company, when we're starting, you can be several roles in your company. You can be an accountant, you can be the human resource, you can recruit and fire, you can look for money, you can be the business development officer, a number of all the other tasks. And I got to learn this from E-Myth Revisited, a book, quite an interesting book. So I used to learn all these things. And then I said, look, Jonah, you have grown. Whereas you're in the field supporting a particular client to check out a particular collateral or check out a particular land title, someone comes at office, he wants a facility. Then I get to notice, you know what? I think I need another person. Then whereas you're there, then someone has resigned. Then you get to know that probably I have to recruit. But you see, I don't have the proficiencies to do all these tasks. I cannot excel at recruitment. I cannot excel at numbers. Whereas I'm there, and probably some money has, leaked through someone's hands. How do I know? Sometimes I need to put an accounting system. But I'm not an accountant to understand the systems very well. So you need to understand what it is that you're giving out to someone, what it is that you're training to your staff before you actually get to integrate your staff. So systems in place. So what can afford you to be out of your business or to be away from your business and it is running? Systems in place. Now, systems cut across a number of areas. But today, I want to highlight key pertinent areas in money lending. One of the areas is, this system to disperse the money. In our system, in our place, we call it, the loan processing. It might look broad, but the loan application processing. What do you do? What do you look at? What do you look at the point of application? Is the system in place? What do you look at? If I come to apply for a loan in your financial institution, what happens? What happens? What is it that you look at before I qualify for a loan? So that's a loan application. So the loan application is meant to collect as much information as possible. It is not meant to assess. That's the essence of loan application. The document itself. Collect as much information from the client as possible. So the time we're starting, we use not to collect the information. It's when it reaches to collection that you start asking yourself, where does this guy stay? By the way, does this guy have a job or not? But these are the questions you should have asked yourself when the person was applying for a loan facility. So you have a document, you have to have a document that collects this information as much as you can. But you cannot have this if you don't have a system in place. So the loan application document. So the second thing is loan assessment. You see, I usually tell my guys that I mentor and support that the loan is bound at the point of dispatch. And what happens at the point of dispatch? You need to assess this client very well. And how do you assess your client? You run a CRB. Does this guy have a facility somewhere else? Some of the guys are highly indebted. The guy has a loan in Stanbic, has a loan in Centenary, has a loan in Jonah Holdings, has a loan with the money lender. So how do you get to know about this guy 360? One of the guys that teaches us tells us, you have to analyze the client 360. Because see, this assessment does not make it hard for a client to get the loan. It is to make it easier for the client to afford the loan so they can actually pay this loan and pay it well. Because if the clients cannot afford the loan, that means they will not pay this loan and they will not pay it well. So you need to do assessment very well. I need to do it very, very well in a stepwise manner. So in assessing the client, you're doing a service to Jonah Key as a company that is lending money to assure that the principal can come back and the interest, but also to help the client with the ability to pay back. By me denying your loan, it could be a blessing in disguise because I'm telling you, look, you cannot afford this facility. Because it's not about the collateral. You have to have the cash flows. And that's why people insist to other lenders who are doing it the wrong way and they lose their collateral. So assessment. So you have to have a step of assessment in your systems. Now look, these things have to be transposed to your staff. They have to understand them so they can actually serve the client in your absentia. So initially I would serve the clients by myself. But now my staff, because they are taught and well taught at that, they can actually serve a client in my absentia and serve them well. The other step that I usually encourage is to think about how you're going to prove the money. Because look, if it is one person, it is a one-person show. And these persons, in courts, they can connive. So you need to have a system in place to approve. How does the money transfer? As you are proving, is it cash or is it transferred to someone's account? Is it transferred to their mobile phones? The key thing you need to note at the point of approval in your systems, you need to know that it has to be trail. There has to be a trail. There has to be evidence that I received money. If you give me 100 million, that's evidence that it actually clocked on my account. Because not that things will go hayway, but in case they go hayway, you need to have a backup to know that, what, these things have gone hayway, but I have evidence that this guy received the money. Because when things get tough, because some of the clients don't come as defaulters. Some of the clients come genuinely. But things get tough or get wild. And when fire gets fire, you want to exude fire as a client. So you need to know that at a certain point if the client changes and wants to exude fire, then you have the backup to defend your stand, genuinely. So that's why it's important in your approval that the money is transferred to the client's account. But look, if you don't have systems in place to ensure that, or you being present to say that, we must wire the money to the phone or account to have the trail of the transaction, then the staff are going to bypass some of these steps. But if you have systems in place and they know that the money has to go by account, they have to stand their ground and say, look, we cannot give you cash. They should reach a moment that they can actually let clients go. You see, if a thing cannot cost you, then it has not been tested. It should cost you a client to know that, I can afford to lose this client because they want cash and we don't give cash. And that's how your systems are tested. The very, very last point I want to share is collection. Collection. You see, we tend to give money, and you see, it's what I spoke in one of my YouTube videos. If you're thinking about interest before you think about securing your principal, you're going to get out of business. Because this business is interesting. So you need to think collection before you give out that money. And you have to inculcate it in your system. So that as the person is assessing the client, the customer, they know that they have to collect that money. Because if I lend this money without me knowing that I'm responsible for collecting it, I'll not put myself in the shoes of the collector. We've had scenarios of, having guys who bring in clients, but because they're not obliged to collect on them, they just speak quara. Even the clients that don't qualify, they are given money, and by the time it gets to collection, it is hard to collect on them. So what happens? As you give out that principal, as you give out that money, it is good to know how you're going to collect it plus its interest. So you need to inculcate this in your systems still. I need to know that you need to train someone in these systems to make sure that the business can run all the 4 steps, plus the after sales, which I haven't covered here because of the time constraint, to know that they are going to run the client through all these systems, and they can able serve them, even serve them better than you would have served them. Then you can afford to have plenty of time to go teach if you're good at teaching, to go mentor if you're good at mentoring, to go preach if you're good at preaching. It will create a lot of time for you to go and do several other tasks that you're good at, and then empower others to do the tasks that you think they can do better. So I encourage you to inculcate systems in your business so that you can actually ensure your business sustainability, growth, but also the business can stand a test of time in your absentia. So with that, comment, subscribe, and then we shall get to grow together. But above all, don't forget to check us out at www.jonakholdingslimited.com. I love you. Thank you for now. God bless you.